Three reasons. Three reasons why you should be looking to play pub gigs, function events, those paid shows, you know? First reason, they pay well. The money's good. The going rate for an hour and a half or 2 hours of covers in a pub or a bar is a three-figure sum. You shouldn't be being paid less than that. Second reason, it's a challenge. I think we can all agree that most musicians don't want to be playing covers in pubs for their entire music career, but most musicians do want a career that involves performance, whether that be as an original artist or as a session player. So why would you turn down the opportunity to gain loads of experience performing? And the third reason was because it's a load of fun. By definition, being paid to do what you do anyway, because you love to do it, that's living the dream. You know, in 1960, a little band from Liverpool who went by the name the Beatles took up a residency in Hamburg, Germany. Over the next 2 years, they famously played residency in a bar in Hamburg every single night. Apparently 2 to 3 performances a day, and the longest streak they did was 104 days with no nights off. That's bonkers. Maybe I need to do a busking streak that beats that. Even the Beatles themselves attribute this time to being the reason they had such good performance skills and musicianship. You can't tell me it's a coincidence that what went on to be one of the biggest bands in history so far started out playing 2 years of function work. Supposedly during this time they also had many covers in their set list. Artists like Little Richard, Chuck Berry and the Arley Brothers were said to have featured in the Beatles set list during this time, only injecting originals as they wrote them later on. Never scoff at a paid covers gig. You never know what it might lead to. It's been a long while since I was in Crawley, I can tell you that now. I don't think I've been here since last September. I like to give places some time before I return to them sometimes, especially if I've had a string of not so good busks in them. It's good practice, I think.
Doors opening, lift going up.
Before I discovered busking, I was trying to get paid gigs, function gigs, and I was trying to do this by sending cold emails, cold DMs to bars and pubs in the Brighton area.
Doors opening.
I think I must have sent like 15, 20 messages. I got one reply, just one. You want to know what it said? The one reply I got? We'll keep you in mind. My eloquently written message got one reply and they said, we'll keep you in mind. Fortunately for me, I discovered busking. Life-changing in many ways. One of the things that I noticed is it's the ultimate way of getting function work, especially if you have the right things put in place. And that's what I'm going to go through in today's video. Looks like, once again, I am not the first busker to arrive. So let's go and talk to our fellow busker. You okay? What's going on? Oh no way! Is it charged?
I forgot to charge it last night.
Oh shoot! Oh no! Well, my fellow busker friend's amp has died because she hasn't got any charge in it. So she's packing up. Apparently she's been here for an hour and a bit. So she says she's happy with that, so that's good. And we will continue our talk about getting paid gigs. I'm going to set up here in Crawley for the first time in 10 months. Good to meet you. What was your name?
Amber.
Amber. Ben.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Have a good day. Hope the amp charges. There you go. Shout out Amber the busker. I'm sorry that her amp didn't work. That kind of sucks, but she said that she was finishing soon anyway. All good. Because busking became a big thing for me, as you all probably know, I do have a pretty regular gig schedule these days. I probably do about 2 or 3 a month, paid events, paid gigs. Some very typical pub gigs, some less typical, kind of weird and wonderful. I've done weddings, I've played at ultra marathons, I've played at big corporate work parties, all sorts. All adding to the wealth of experience of not just my performance abilities and musicianship, but also just life experience. Now there's no guarantee that heading out for a busk will get you a gig. It's a bit like fishing in that way. Sometimes you get a bite, sometimes you don't. But you can almost guarantee you won't be getting any gigs if you don't go busking. Now I'm assuming that if you're coming out busking and you're coming out busking regularly, then you probably already have a good set list that can play an hour and a half of material, meaning that you're fully equipped to play a pub gig, a covers gig, a function, event. But if you don't yet have that in place, then that's your first point of call. Establish a nice set list that can meet the demands of an hour and a half to 2 hours. It doesn't have to be all covers, but it does have to be a few that people are gonna know, even if it's within a niche genre. Let's see then. Crawley, what you saying?
Do you have the time to listen to me one about nothing and everything all at once?
So, once you're out and you're busking, there's a few things you can do to help you on your way to getting some paid gigs. First one is get yourself a good sign, which I made a whole video about already. On that sign, you can put a lovely QR code and make sure that that QR code takes whoever scanned it to a good place. Not some jumbled, messed up place, not just a single page either. I think like if you just link it to your Instagram, that could work, but I think like a good link tree, a page with lots of links that has a clear link that says like book me. That's what I have on my website. You scan my QR code, it goes to a page on my website, and there's one of the links just says book me. And that way, if somebody sees me in the street and they want to book me for a gig, it's all there. It's all there at their fingertips. They don't even have to talk to me if they don't want it.
Bringing me down, yeah. So I went to the shore where they said I was a bore. So cream I want him 'cause it's bringing in now.
Of course, another thing you can have is a business card. I don't personally have any business cards because it's one of those things that every time I think about making them, I end up doing something else like editing a video. But I've seen some pretty cool business cards from other musicians where there's like just the QR code and then it just says their name and what they do, or an email. Anything that just gets the person that wants to book you your details as efficiently as possible with no faff.
Lost into control, so I better hold on, yeah.
Of course, people might just come up to you in the street and ask you if you're available for gigs, available for paid work, and in this instance, you need a speech prepared. Again, it's about making it as convenient as possible. If you're umming and ahhing, you're gonna come across as a little unprofessional. You don't want to be in their face, but you need to know what you're going to say.
Sometimes I give myself that creep. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up, and I think I'm cracking up. The mind is paranoid, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So typically, if somebody comes over and wants to book you for an event or gig or something, they ask you 3 questions. First of all, are you available on XY date? If they have a specific date in mind, they'll probably just ask you if you're available on that day. Second question, how long do you play for, roughly? How long is your set? And third question, how much do you charge? Now, it's very good practice to have all the answers to these questions ready to go. Just ready to go. You can seal the deal there and then. No faff. The busk suddenly results into a paid gig. And that means the busk has gone further than what you make donation-wise and, you know, the energy you put out there in the street. So how do you answer these three questions? I'm gonna tell you. But first I'm gonna tell you that it's not very good here in Crawley. Everyone ignores me. You can tell a place isn't gonna be that good for busking because instead of people looking at you, they just look in your case. Instead of looking at you and what you're doing and acknowledging that, they just look in the case as if to say like, oh, money. It's still early days. We'll give Crawley the benefit of the doubt. We'll bust the whole day and then we'll assess. But so far, average. Tim, the trumpet player, is playing up there. I can tell it's Tim. I can just see his outline. If it's not Tim, then sorry, Tim. He is quite a good distance up there though, so I'll give him credit for that. Question number one on your availability, best practice here, or what I personally do, is put all my dates in my calendar on my phone. And I always have my phone with me. So as soon as they ask me if I'm available on a date, I can just look in my phone and see if I've booked something or not. It's very important to be organised. I even put like provisional dates. If someone's asked me to do something but it's yet to be confirmed, I'll just put like provisional. But this way I know exactly when and where I'm meant to be. But also if somebody asks me if I'm available, I can tell them. I mean, most modern humans carry around a phone. If you're not carrying around a phone, then good on you. Maybe just get a paper diary.
My head says go back, turn around, yeah. Life's a game, but nobody knows how to play it, save it.
The second question, how long can you play for? All you have to do here is be honest. Be honest with yourself, be honest with the person asking. If you've only got half an hour of material, don't be committing to a gig where they want you to play an hour and a half, 2 hours. If you've got an hour and 15 minutes for material, then maybe if it's far enough in the future, you can use it to keep you accountable for learning some new songs and get that hour and a half. I have done that previously in the past, where I was asked to play for 2 hours, I only had an hour and 40. So I used it as an excuse and learnt 20 more minutes of songs.
My head says go back, turn around. Niggas say all they want about it, just I mean I don't doubt it sometimes. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from?
And the third thing, how much do you charge? Luckily for us, the Musicians Union has made this very simple by laying out on their website what the national rates should be, what you should be charging to play a gig, or what you should be getting paid anyway. I'll go through that with you now. Could it really be future me? It's future me, here to go through with you what you should be charging for your paid gigs. All of the following figures are taken from the Musicians Union website, which I have linked below if you want to check it out for yourself. The MU state that we should be charging no less than £73.50 per hour of performance. So for an hour and a half set, £110.25 is the minimum you should be charging. If it's 2 hours, then it's £147. Of course, this is just for the performance itself, and it is a minimum figure. So feel free to charge a bit more. As well as the performance, you have to take into account your travel. The MU figure for this is £11.25 per hour you travel. So if it takes you an hour to get to the gig and it takes you an hour to get home, you should be adding an additional £22.50 to your performance figure. If there is more than one member within your act, the MU recommend adding on an extra 15% per member. The most important thing here is that you do not, whatever you do, undervalue yourself or your fellow musician. Even if you aren't that experienced. Even if this is your first ever paid gig. People that book these kind of gigs need to know that they aren't just paying a musician to play music. Everything around the performance itself has to also be taken into account. The travel, the downtime, the waiting around, the setup, the equipment, the maintenance of the equipment, all of the rehearsal time. If someone disputes your price that you come up with, then send them the MU link. Show them that these figures have been thought about. But honestly, if somebody is disputing your prices, because they think you're charging too much, and your figures are similar to those that the MU have stated, then you probably don't want to take that gig. Go busking instead that day. By accepting ill-paying gigs, you're not just letting yourself down, but you're also letting other musicians down. If we're all on the same page and charging similar things, then people get used to those figures and they don't dispute it. They realize that that's actually how much it costs to have a musician perform. Again, like I said, these are just minimum figures. Feel free to round them up. For me personally, £200 for an hour and a half to 2 hour set kind of covers everything I need. And then I usually add travel on top of that. Back to Past Me.
I like to think that I write these songs for a reason.
From my experience, most folks just say yes to whatever price you name there and then. If they say, oh, how much do you usually charge for 2 hours of music? I usually say £200. Or 250 if I'm feeling spicy. And I don't think anyone's ever said no. I think I've had one no to my prices, and that was by John Lewis. John Lewis, the big retail store, said no. They said it was beyond their budget. Which, for all the people that have booked me, they're probably like one of the biggest corporations, companies, probably have the most money. So that makes no sense.
Two steps from a crossroad. Two steps from a crossroad. No. Two steps from a crossroad. Two steps from a crossroad.
So once you've got all your answers sorted and someone's come up to you and they've asked you if you're available and you've sorted out the prices, or maybe you've done this all via email or via a message or something, the next thing that I recommend doing is having your set list written out, all the songs that you play, especially the covers, because quite often what people will then ask for is your set list. They want to see it, and even if they don't ask for it, I tend to send it over anyway, especially if it's like a birthday or a wedding that they've booked me for. And I usually write at the bottom, it's just something like, if you have 1 or 2 requests you want me to add in, then I'm more than happy to. So it's good for the challenge, and I think it's nice to offer people like that little bit of customization, you know. More often than not, most people are like, yeah, the set list looks great, even if I include my originals, because I still play my originals quite often, even at these kind of function events. Because, you know, why not? Especially if the crowd is responsive. Just throw them in.
Smoke, I'm a midnight talk. I should've want to her, no. Now you're the cutest thing I've ever seen. I really love your bitches, wanna shake your tree.
Another practice that's really good to have in place for getting paid gigs is to have an example of what you do on video online, because quite often people will ask you if you've got an example, especially if like they're booking you for a friend's birthday party or a friend's wedding and they want the approval. Like I've had brides come up to me and say, we want to book you, but I need to send you an example to my groom. I have like a video online that I've just taken from one of these clips that I send around, but you just stick a camera down when you're playing, especially if you're out busking. It's the perfect time to do it. Stick your phone on the ground, angle it properly. Just a nice example, you know. Quite often if someone sees you in the street, they might then forget like and second guess themselves as to who, like how good you were and what they thought of you. So it's quite good to reassure them with a little bit of evidence that no, I was as good as you thought I am.
People talk about me, baby. Yeah. They say I'll do your own, do your own. Don't you worry, no mama, don't worry. I'm right here,
think of any reasons why no one's giving me donations. It's all good though, each to their own. Feeling alright?
Tired.
Tired? Did you sleep last night?
I did.
You did?
Really scared.
Oh really? At least it's sunny, eh? No rain. Much better.
'Cause I'm a picker, and I'm a grinner, I'm a lover, I'm a sinner. I'm playing my music in the sun, and I'm a joker, I'm a smoker, I'm a midnight talker. I sure don't want to hurt no.
Well, there it is then, Crawley. First time in 9 months or something. It went alright. By the end there, I had a lot of appreciation from a couple of people that decided to watch and stay. And that felt really good. It was like a good reminder of like, I shouldn't have expectations. After all the busking I do, I still have to remind myself to go into this in that open mode, into that no expectation. Because sometimes it still happens, man. The first few times I came to Crawley, I went and made 3 figures like a fair few times in a row. So it's almost like I come here to expect that, you know, when that's unfair on Crawley. I shouldn't be expecting anything. But it ended up being quite a good time. I enjoyed those guys hanging out and wanting to listen and giving me all sorts of compliments, so that was good. I guess my train is here already. That was £36.92 here in Crawley for 4 and a bit hours of playing. Not quite what I usually get, but it does happen. It's not always crazy totals. And that's where paid gigs and those kind of things really come into their own. It means you don't have to stress too much. So many noises. It means you don't have to worry too much when you get lower days. I think I'm gonna hand this video over to Future Me to round off. Over to Future Me. The rapper Jay-Z had a quote about himself as a musician. He said, "I'm not a businessman. I'm a business, comma, man. And you are a business, man." It's the same for us all. The Beatles were no chance mistake. Every opportunity that comes your way is an opportunity to experience and grow. So don't be turning your nose up because you think you're the next Adele and Adele didn't do her function work. I bet she even took paid gigs on before she set fire to the brain. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it helps you out. Let me know if it does, if you get some paid gigs. And yeah, take a look at that Musicians Union pay rates thing. It's very useful if you're worried about asking for money. If you're new around here, feel free to subscribe. And if you really want to, turn the notifications on so you don't miss a video. To leave an online donation, I have a super thanks button, or you can scan this QR code. Whoa. And that'll take you to all the links you could ever need, ARP-wise. If you have a little spare cash laying around, I have a Patreon page where I post exclusive content, and I also have some merch on my website. Thank you so much for watching this video. They come out every Monday, so I'll see you next week. In the meantime, watch this one that comes up on the screen, or the many others on my channel. Appreciate you. Peace, love, happiness. Happy gigging, folks.